Commissioner from District 1, D1.
D1.
6'5", power forward. Lane. I'm going to get you, boy. So thank you for joining me, and we have our finance team at the table. Mr. Nikki, Interim Finance Director Patterson, our Chief Procurement Officer, Mr. Kelvin Waltz, Chief Financial Legal OV Brantley. We got all the key people there. We could have a good meeting. Got Luz out in the audience trying to play like she's not at the table yet. The first order of business is minutes. Madam Commissioner, are you ready to take them, or do you want to go down the line?
I need to double check, because none of these can be approved until we have two of them in the room, because they were before you came on board.
Okay.
Except for September 3rd, probably.
I can turn to that.
September 3rd you can approve.
Okay.
All right. I'll entertain a motion.
All righty, I will move approval of September 3rd minutes.
All right. I'll second that. And we're looking at the minutes for September 3rd, because I can't do June 18, 25, and July 9th. You and Commissioner Barnes-Sutton and Commissioner Boyer can do those two.
Okay.
So I'll do this one, and then we can go back. You or I can go back and do the other one.
Okay.
Second that one. All in favor, September 3rd minutes? Motion carries. One abstention, or you want to?
She can vote on that one.
Okay. Now we'll go to June 18th, June 25th, and July 9th. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Looking briefly.
I move that we approve the minutes from Tuesday, June 18th.
Move approval. Second, sorry.
All right. Moving properly second for approval of June 18th, 25th, and July 9th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I abstain. So we have all our minutes approved for the 18th, 25th, July 9th, and September 3rd. I don't know what happened to August. August got passed already? All right. We'll go to our second agenda item, which is really just a resolution expediting the employment of internal auditor. And I'll go down to Commissioner Rader.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have here a packet that sort of documents the process, and if you give three to the commissioners, and then anyone else that would like one, here's here. This contains first the ordinance itself that was adopted in 2010. There is a letter from me in response to Commissioner Sutton's letters that she sent out to us. I'm trying to find the one from Commissioner Sutton. At any rate, so there is a letter that basically addresses this issue of the internal auditor's subpoena authority. There is also material there related to the county attorney's opinion on that matter, to try to address those particular issues about the subpoena powers of the internal auditor. If the county attorney would like to speak to that, I certainly would yield the floor to her. But I wanted to, just before we did that, also share with you some information that I had received from a professional group associated with this type of work, the Association of Local Government Auditors, which basically has not only followed what we've been doing, but also has given us some advice on what we ought to do. Basically, I think that their review indicates that, if anything, our ordinance could be strengthened by creating more authority and separation for the internal auditor. So I don't think that we can characterize this as being a overly aggressive auditor ordinance. Finally, and as it relates to information that would perhaps help to better explain the role of the internal auditor, I found a guide or a primer on internal auditors on their website that I thought would be useful to the committee to review.
We have one more.
Yes. So that people could get a better idea of it. Sure. So I know it's a lot of material, and I certainly expect that the committee will want to take a look at it. But I was wondering if there were any specific questions about either the powers as it related to subpoena or the purpose of the internal auditor that I might be able to answer for the members of the committee.
All right. Committee members?
Well, I'm good at speed reading, but not quite that good.
Well, Ms. Brantley, maybe you could speak to the issue of the subpoena powers.
Commissioners, you should have received a memo from me today. What I attempted to do in the memo was basically to explain the law as it relates to auditing and more specifically the internal auditor. I've received a lot of questions from some of you as well as some of the constitutional officers, and what I determined from talking to them is that there was some misinformation out there about exactly what was already on the books. Apparently, some people had forgotten that you had enacted the ordinance, I believe, in 2010. So the intent of my memo was to just give everybody a level informational playing field so that we're all starting with the facts. I do understand that, and I have been asked that there might be some proposed amendments to the ordinance, but for today, what I tried to do was just explain what is in the ordinance. And to answer Commissioner Rader's question directly, the ordinance does not give the internal auditor subpoena power. It does give the auditor some powers as directed by you to talk, to request a grand jury, go to the Superior Court judge and request a grand jury, that sort of thing. But the auditor definitely does not have subpoena power in the ordinance as drafted. So,
and that ability to go to the Superior Court is only with the approval of the Board of Commissioners. So even that is constrained in that particular way. And as the county attorney points out, that we ourselves are each entitled to petition the grand jury for such consideration also, through separate law.
But then why wouldn't we do that?
Well, the idea is to allow the internal auditor to help to staff an effort by a grand jury in their fact-finding effort. I think that even as we look at the report of the grand jury that was most recently released, we can see that there are elements that, you know, a better knowledge of the operation of the government would, you know, make their report even more accurate. So the idea of having our internal auditor helping them to, you know, advance an investigation would probably result in a more accurate and well-focused investigation by a grand jury if they were to move forward.
Why couldn't we review the report or take their recommendation and then do the action ourselves? I don't understand why we're asking somebody else to do what we can do ourselves.
Asking who else to do what?
The auditor. If the auditor brings a report to us telling us that he would recommend that, why wouldn't we take his recommendation and take the action ourselves?
Of the grand jury effort? Well, because it may be, see, I think that the scenario where they would be going to the grand jury would be in the case of an auditor investigation being blocked. So that if there was not a cooperative department or office of county government that you would potentially need the grand jury to help you to gain access to those records. And so the grand jury, though, has the power, but they don't necessarily have the expertise to pursue that investigation. Likewise, we have neither the power nor the expertise to pursue the investigation.
But we wouldn't need that. If the auditor gives us a recommendation, we have to take the information and decide if that's what we want to do. Why not just do it instead of telling him, you do it?
Okay. I think that the recommendations of the auditor at that point would be to further pursue an investigation. And he or she would be the party that would have the expertise in order to accomplish that. So we ourselves, I mean, that has been, I think, one of the primary struggles that we've had, is that we as a part-time commission, and certainly not experts in either public administration or in, you know, the essence of what these individual departments do, are at something of a disadvantage in trying to oversee their operations. And so having expertise in these fields is essential for us to be able to accomplish our oversight roles. But in addition to having expertise, you also have to have the cooperation of the agency that is being reviewed. And that's what the ultimately the grand jury process gives you, is access that is more forthcoming than that which we can receive ourselves, because we don't have any power to subpoena.
No, we have the power to request a grand jury investigation, and that's what we're giving to the auditor. We're asking the auditor to do it on our behalf.
And to staff our effort to do so, yes.
Well, why wouldn't they just staff our efforts and we do it ourselves? Either way, they have to come for us for permission, we have to review the information, and then we have to vote and say yes, unless you're saying just give them blanket power, which that is different than the way I read it. So you're just saying just give them power to do this of their own volition, or they have to bring information about a specific concern?
Basically, the scenario that I would see is that the auditor would, in an approved audit plan, be investigating a particular office of county government. If they ran into a problem to where they couldn't get the department that was being reviewed, get them to cooperate with that, they would say, Commission, we need to work with the grand jury in order to bring witnesses and information forward. So what I would like to do is, on your behalf, work with the Superior Court to impanel a grand jury that can compel the evidence that we have to have on the investigation. Ultimately, the investigation would proceed, and then we as a commission and the CEO and the public would receive the report of that investigation. The grand jury piece is really not at the end of the process, but in the middle of the process.
I still don't see okay, if we had that scenario, and he brought the complaint to us,
Right.
Why wouldn't we just request it? Because as elected officials, we have that authority, and have the auditor to staff it.
Well, that's essentially what we'd be doing, is by directing them to work with the grand jury. So, I mean, that's a matter of semantics. When we do authorize them to do that, then they're going to, on our behalf, make that request and ideally obtain the information that they need to do their work. But the whole idea is to have someone that is skilled in doing this and independent on a daily basis to be able to make an objective investigation. And in many places, auditors have subpoena authority. We're not proposing that, but that is, you know, a common practice.
But I don't think state law provides that here, does it?
Our organizational act does not.
Why does
And
the
this
state?
wouldn't supersede that.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, we can talk
We
later,
come back,
because I
we'll
still
come back,
don't,
but there may be some more, you might
Yeah,
get some
we'll
more
talk
questions.
Sure, we can talk more about
Yeah.
that. This isn't intended to let them go off on their own, but instead it's an intermediate process to just keep the process moving.
Commissioner Boyer?
The purpose, and we, the commission, it goes back to, and I've already had this conversation with Commissioner Rader, goes back to Commissioner Waldorf and Scott and myself, trying to get a auditor in place for a number of years. And I'm kind of at the point, after listening to it, everything is not about the investigation. I know the grand jury has brought up some weaknesses, but in 20 years, I've been trying to get an auditor to audit every single department on different types of audits. I would like to propose and throw out that we actually would hire a firm, come in and do different types of audits for the Board of Commissioners. And we can talk about that at some time. I think I'm pulling away from the idea of an individual person. Number one, I don't think they can do all the workload that I would like to have done in the time frame that I would like to have it done. So I've put a few calls out. When Commissioner Rader brought this up today in passing by, that I'd like to look at more that way. I would prefer not to hire a person. I would prefer to hire a firm and give them the same criteria which we would give an individual, but I think we'd get better and faster results. And they would have more resources. I don't want to build a department. I'd rather have someone come in and do the forensic audits or whatever type of audits we determine, and do it on a rotating basis, on starting with whatever priority departments we want, and just go through the entire county that way. So I know that may not make some folks happy, but that's just the way I see it.
But we all agree we need to have an internal audit type of function. We still agree on that.
We agree on the concept.
Okay. Commissioner Rader, you want to add anything?
Well, what I would suggest is, speaking to that particular issue, I'd like, perhaps to find some expertise and sort of bring a presentation as to best practices. I'm not by any means an expert on this, but I think that there are people that are experts, and this is a fairly well-developed area of local government, best practice. What I've found is, many school districts have these. Cobb and Gwinnett both have a similarly structured one. In some states, they are widely utilized and very effective, and in fact, can show, a cost recovery of, multiple hundreds of % in being able to make governmental action more efficient. I think that one of the issues that we need to explore is our ability to be able to, first of all, have continuity and persistence in any sort of an outsized effort. We have conducted one audit under the scenario that, Commissioner Boyer had identified, and I think that cost us $300,000-400,000 with by the time that
What are you speaking of?
the IT audit with Hill and then Nashville and then with KPMG.
I don't know what the cost was.
Right. It was. So, but then, there was no continuity of that effort, and it didn't go anywhere else.
But that would be up to us.
Well, yes, and that's what, one of the features of this particular ordinance is that continuity and the development of an annual program of audit that would systematically go through the government. And there's no reason that the person that's in charge of that, who is, hired by the commission, can't bring other resources on board as necessary. I'm not suggesting perhaps that you would have a large department, but having that leadership there, I think, is going to be essential for us to be able to have accountability. But I'll, if I could...
Just a difference of opinion.
Maybe we can get a further presentation on that.
Further presentation, because we got to do travel and hearing Commissioner Barnes-Sutton and the information hearing Commissioner Boyer. We may have to entertain, but can we do the first meeting in November for that? But then at that point, we have all this information in front of us and read it. We may decide on an individual or a firm, but I think with staff, if you all can help us in terms of work with Commissioner Rader, let's come back with a plan of action so we can at least get somebody in before the end of the year, because that would help us kick off the new budget. The budget to be finished, and we have a whole new year. And a lot of the things that we're going to grapple with now will be finished. Zach is working on that research with the Organizational Act and all those things, because no matter if you have an internal auditor as an individual or a firm, there's still some things in the organizational act that are broken that I don't think one individual position is going to solve. So I want to look at this as a comprehensive package and move forward. And so if you can't coordinate that, Jeff, we can get that person here.
Okay.
But as we're moving through this process, we need to come to the table at least that first meeting in November with some type of resolution on which way we want to go to do the auditor, the individual, or the firm. So I want us to try to work through that in the next couple of
Yeah, and
weeks.
we'll address the pros and cons
Right.
of those models. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll call, our next item is our standing report, Chief Financial Officer.
A couple of things. Stefan will give you the status of, as of August 31st, and I'll talk about the budget request a little bit. You want to give them the colored ones?
Yeah.
I'll help you pass them out.
Few of them. We got a few more.
Okay. I'm sorry, Commissioner Rader.
Black and white, so a little bit tougher to
Yeah, they're
follow.
kind of hard to follow. I got one. Anybody? We're
Do we
good?
have enough?
Okay.
Good afternoon. This is the monthly report for financial results for August 2013. Revenue and expense overview.
Third quarter.
Pardon?
Third quarter. More or less.
Two-thirds into the third
Yep.
quarter, absolutely. On page 2, you will see the graph depicting where we are on our revenues, on our collections. Blue line is the blue, the big dashes is 2012 actual, and the blue dots is the anticipation for 2013, with the green being the actual for 2013. So you'll see the variance between budget versus actual. We're on the good side of that. We're tracking and we're staying north of what we had anticipated. Page 3 gives you more detail. Gives you the overview of the different categories of revenues and tax, host, license and permits, etc. And you'll see that we're tracking in the year-over-year variance, which is the far right column. Most are in the plus. The host, the large negative, is largely due to a test entry that was made that will wash back out in September, and it will normalize.
What does that mean?
Go away.
It means that there was an entry made prior to this.
It was in, I believe, July of 2012 by the revenue manager, revenue manager downstairs,
Is it
who
an
was
error?
testing a system.
When?
And
Is it an
the
error?
entry stayed in for
Just say it's an
several
error.
months. It was really reversed out.
It's an error.
How much was how much was the error?
The error was $8 million.
So it wasn't a little error. So, but you found the money.
We found the error.
So
The
you
error
found
was
the money.
corrected it was no money, it was an entry.
It was $8 million.
Typo.
Typo.
It was a test entry, testing
So you,
system.
how do you test
We
like
tested
that?
in a live system.
Yeah,
so
we
it's
were
like-
testing the new Oracle,
Okay.
and instead of going into the test site, an individual went into the actual active site. And so that's what happened.
So we looked like we had a surplus.
Right.
Yeah.
And
You gotta
so
make
it was reversed in September on the year-over-year variance, that's why it shows up funny. So next month, this will be gone.
Can be gone.
That test error variance, year-over-year basis.
So you put in safety measures not to do that again?
We just killed them.
Yeah, that has to be
We haven't
rare.
buried them, if you would like to
Yeah.
hear that part.
Y'all too deep for me. Okay.
Yeah. And we'll also tell them not to use the test environment. Come on, Stefan.
Go ahead.
Do you have any questions on the information on this particular page here. We are, in aggregate, tracking about 8.7 million positive variance on the year-to-date revenue, anticipated versus actual.
So you go to the second column in the
That's the second one in from the right. That's the year-to-date variance.
8.7
8.7 million.
To the good.
to the good.
to the good.
Right. Some are straight line and some are cyclical, depending on the type of revenue. For example, the best case for that is the property tax.
Right,
It's very cyclical. Yes.
So where appropriate,
Looks like we're 50.
I mean, where appropriate, you're saying,
Right, right.
in straight line, and things like
This is-
20, 50%.
That's compared to.
That's why this, the graph itself takes a large upturn when the property tax comes in.
This
On page 4, gives you the same dollar amounts, but in a different view. And I do apologize for the fuzziness. I thought it was my eyes, but I think it's my printer. It gives you the view by fund. Still the same variance, year over year of almost 16 million, but it gives you the different slice.
Will your police fund catch up? If you only got 4 months left?
I don't think so.
Probably a little smaller on the left.
Taxes haven't come in.
Right, taxes aren't in yet, though.
Right.
Remember, taxes aren't in each of those funds.
The property tax.
Right.
It might be a little close.
So when you anticipate, what is that gonna be?
We get
How
the
much?
first,
Property tax, they're starting to dribble in,
Yeah.
and we'll get a large payment by the end of this month or early October.
so what we can do is, for the next meeting, see when the next FAB is, probably the meeting in October, we'll have the first wave of property tax payments in, and we can give you an interim report.
We should
If you
have
would.
assessors come in. Assessors come in at some point before we start talking.
The commissioner.
Yeah.
Jay, in October, November, so we can see.
Mhm.
Okay, so but you don't know how much though?
Just so you know, finance works with the assessors department on every time we get whatever the monthly shot in the arm, for lack of a better term, to see how it is, because the digest is constantly being updated on what they're doing. So we're actually kind of working hand in glove with them to some extent.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
this is basically accurate.
Yes.
It is accurate, with the exception of that $9 million error the person was
Yeah, we already showed
taking care
it.
of.
Then page 5 is a different slice, a little bit more by taxes, license permits, giving you the variance year over year.
Let me just point out, Commissioner, on this particular one, that we need to keep our eyes on the new motor vehicle way of doing things. And so right now, to the good, we have a $5.2 million good revenue for that. However, there's something weird in the whole way this works, because we're still carrying that vehicle as a certain assessed value. So that's got to be some kind of change. And Jay's been talking to Robert Goodman in the Tax Commissioner's office, and neither the state revenue nor the tax commissioners really know how to address that yet. So even though we didn't anticipate any monies from this change, I think the state keeps telling us it's going to wash out, but what they didn't think about was you're carrying this value of these vehicles on your books, and so what do you do with that? So that's still a work in progress, I'll put it that way.
So be prepared, that's one where you could turn around every other month and a different number come up.
Can I ask you, what is the reversible allocation test?
That's the error.
That's the error?
Yeah, that's the error.
Oh, that we put it, that's 8 million, so really that figure should be more like 5 million for Brookhaven?
Yes, sir.
And the business cable TV franchise that's in the whole $268,000, that's basically goes towards incorporation of Brookhaven, since they now have their own franchise.
Yes.
And the outsourcing, I thought we should be up on emergency medical services. Will we catch up before the end of the year? That won't be a negative?
Well, this is a year-over-year comparison, so last year we would have had more revenue than this year with the outsourcing.
Last year, we transported people, so we got money.
Now we're not.
Now we're not.
So we would have had 309 plus in this year.
But we don't have
We don't have
expenses
any.
this year.
Right.
That's what you don't see.
Decreases in citations, that can go up even more, right? It's just for,
Yeah. You know, that's recorder's court, and it just kind of depends on, you know, how citations are
Right.
written. Let me put it that way. That's good.
okay.
An officer staffing issue.
And what is the non-listed revenue? You can give us a asterisk at the bottom so we'll know what it is,
Yeah.
what that means.
Well, we'll tell you what it is. It's-
It has to do with that $9 million, that the person who took care of those costs.
That was the burial cost.
Those burial costs.
Okay, we gotta do cremation next time.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
All right.
Expenses.
Page 6,
Page 6 is the expenses. It's a high-level overview by fund, budget versus current year-to-date expenditures. Also gives you a projected year-end expense number. And right now, we're tracking at about 93%, 93.2% overall.
And
That's a little down, because we were saying about 94, so it's, the numbers are getting better. As Zach reminds the reports to him that run it like a business, and so that's what we expect, and we just tell them no, that's
Just say no, as Nancy Reagan would say. Hospital, that number should come down too once we refinance, right?
Right, yes, yeah, yeah.
If we can
Refunding.
time it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we time it right, we're good.
so page 2, which is tax funds revenue, you saying that's gonna be 560 million, and that should equal out? Or we're gonna have over that amount of revenue, we should go over?
Yeah. we should
Yes.
go over.
How much you think we should do, $580 million, or $595?
We'd have
I just
to
don't know
do
what
We
the-
have to, we have to
It's
do a little
lying.
bit more, look at it, yeah, let us look at it a little bit
the
further.
actual numbers, but
Because when we get the first property tax wave in, we can
can
be
tell
a
us.
little bit more specific. I'd rather not
I got you.
say.
All right.
so I think we budgeted a 3% decline,
yeah.
and we realized a 2%. If I'm
Right, and
not
then
mistaken,
the
so-
tax commissioner's collection rate is still
Should be
remaining
better.
at that 99%
Right,
level.
all those
Now, the
factors.
digest might change.
Right.
But, so you've got all these factors there. So if you allow us to, let us get the first wave of tax money in, we can, because it should be the same the next time, it should have.
And we have 3 pages of detail by line item of the expenses,
By department.
by department, by fund. And for your request, we've put in descriptors on some of the negative variances to provide a little bit of additional information.
And we could talk to you individually about some of these that might be better than just calling out names of departments, because some of them are sensitive.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
I have a question.
Commissioner Barnes,
Yes, I understand that we have to prioritize the general fund, but we never talk about the, what do you call it?
Non-tax?
Enterprise and.
Enterprise
There we go.
funds.
Yes.
You know, and we need to be fiscally prudent with that
We
too.
will do that.
And I think that's something that we should
We can present those.
explore as thoroughly as we explore this.
Okay, we do, we just don't present it to you, because those have to be self-sustaining. So the next meeting, we'll have something similar for non-tax funds.
And even though they're self-sustaining, it's still taxpayer money.
Absolutely.
So we
It
can
is.
find ways
Please.
that we could be more efficient in
Right.
that.
Yeah, we agree.
We will.
all right, thank you. Any questions, Commissioner, any more questions? All right, hearing none, thank you for that report. Now we'll go to our standing report from our Chief Procurement Officer. These are items that were presented at the committee of the whole.
That's correct, Commissioner. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I think in front of you, you have your packages. The first item in the low bid category is motorcycles, Harley-Davidson's, low bidder meeting specifications. The spreadsheet. Oh, sorry.
A brief pause in the action.
Yeah, papers.
That's some water.
Which one? No,
Okay, all minds ready?
Can we have a copy for the back row?
Sure. Yeah, plenty of
Yeah, I think so.
Purchasing won't be in there if you're looking at the purchasing.
One more, sir.
Okay, LB1 is motorcycles, Harley-Davidson. One bid received $288,000. Also, you have a spreadsheet in front of you for the 13 motorcycles that we are asking for approval. We had Fleet to always prepare that report for you.
Are you trading any other ones?
Not on this bid.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner, any question on LB1?
So we need more because of, why we need more?
These are replacement units, Commissioner. Yes.
Other ones are worn out.
Yeah, it looks like
So
5
what
are
we do?
totaled.
Oh, we just gonna surplus them? Is that what
Yes.
you mean?
That's what we do.
Not for these.
Not in this bid. This is, okay?
Okay, Commissioners, any more questions? Okay, LB2 is the meter boxes lid, invitation number 3002787.
Yes, $175,000. This contract is utilized by the Watershed Management Department. Low bid, meeting specifications.
Okay, any questions, Commissioners?
Question.
Okay.
The MSBE participation is only 5%. Can you speak to that?
Yes, we are still working with the vendor commissioner to bring that up by 15%. But they did do a good faith effort, and that's all they could get when the bid was received.
How many are stolen that you're replacing? I know there's been a large amount of theft around meter boxes. Is this prone to that? Are we replacing stolen?
The meter box lids aren't worth very much.
Okay.
They leave the lid
Plastic.
and take the meter out.
Right, right.
Is that's,
These are just cast steel.
okay. So these meter boxes and lids?
Yes, sir.
But are they, how many meter boxes are we replacing that are stolen? Is part of this?
Really on water meters, none, because
None?
they don't dig those up.
Okay. What are the ones are they stealing?
They steal manhole lids and rings because those are easily accessible and they weigh quite a bit because they're much larger.
Steel ones. Okay, okay.
Okay?
I have another
Marcy?
question.
Sure.
And maybe we will need to talk about this later, but I would be interested to know if you have enough people in contract compliance to ensure that, that there really has been a good faith effort and it's not just on paper.
Yes. We can talk about that, Commissioner. I agree. We need more people.
Okay, so we really don't know if it was a good faith effort, we just know that.
No, they completed the form with a good faith effort. And we approved that it was a good faith effort.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
All right, LB3.
LB3 is the runway 2L-20R rehab and runway. This is for the airport for $2.5 million, low bidder meeting specifications.
Okay, Commissioners? And this is normal repairs that you have to do every couple of years?
Yes, sir.
How many years does it take in between?
This runway has never been rehabbed since we've taken over The cap is taken over the Air Force since '59.
Whoa. Okay.
Got some knowledge out of that. I think it's about time.
Thank you for asking.
LB4.
LB4 is the road resurfacing for Public Works Department. This is for ER Snell contractor out of Snellville, Georgia, $6.4 million.
And they will do what we just passed, I guess, from the host, or this is a different LMIG?
Yeah, they will also do commissioner patching and resurfacing as well. And this is out of the host budget.
Did it say how many miles they'll be able to get with this money?
I don't have that number, but I can get it to you.
Can you get it to the commissioners?
I certainly
Because I think we said we had $8 million. This is 6.4, so we got about 1.6 left. So just want to see where's that money that's left over? Because we need to patch as many roads as we can.
Yes, sir.
So we shouldn't leave no money on the table. Unless you're going, if you're doing it in-house and buying materials and all that. The commissioner, we just need to know because the roads are pretty in bad shape because of the rain and all of those things. So, but we need to know the miles they're going to patch up and also what's going to happen with that $1.6 million that's left over.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks.
I got a question about the LSBE participation.
Same question, Commissioner.
I just don't, now this is, you're patching, this is the best you can do for this type of work?
Yes, Commissioner, they did a good faith effort as well, and they could only get 12%.
I don't believe it.
I agree.
So what are we going to do about it?
We're going to continue to work with them once it's approved.
I have a question. Why would we approve it when they haven't met? Why don't we let them continue to work on it before we approve it?
Well, we can do that as well, but we don't want to hold up the work because they made a good faith effort. So that's part of the LSB ordinance. You make a good faith effort or the 20%.
Plus, you don't put any type of numbers and targets as well, right? So, right? So you don't have to.
Maybe we can have a conversation because we're looking at a lot of issues related to the LSB program. And I'd be happy to come by and just share some thoughts, and as with Kelvin.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Oh,
I really don't believe this. I just don't.
I understand.
Okay.
Any other questions, Commissioner?
No, sir.
Okay. LB5.
LB5 is the T-hanger roofs and exterior wall painting. This is for the airport as well. This is a $440,000 contract.
Okay, any questions on LB5, Commissioners? Hearing none, can I entertain a motion for LB1 through LB5?
Move approval.
I just have a problem with it.
Which one do you want? Because he's in the dilemma. If he hold it up, we take a chance on our roads and stuff not getting repaid in bad shape. But he said he'll work on trying to get those numbers up. So,
my problem is that we always work on it, and it's always the same problem. I've been here, this is my 5th year, and everything always remains the same, and we continue to approve it, and there's just no follow through, and I just need better than this.
So what type of motion would you like to propose?
I'd just like to, how time sensitive is this? I just like to look at it maybe until, when is our next opportunity to review this again, to give them a little time to work on it.
Okay, that would be 2 weeks. So
Okay.
can we make a motion of the ones that can be approved today?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Pick them.
Pick them.
Pick them. LB1. Did that have any at all? Oh, we couldn't use the requirement here, right?
Yes, this company had none. We don't have anyone certified to do motorcycles.
I might believe that one. LB1, LB3, LB5.
Okay. Need a second? Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Motion carries. Now we need a second motion for the ones that need to be deferred.
I move that LB3 be deferred for 2 weeks.
Second.
Okay, that's the only one?
That was the only one.
I thought there was
LB.
two. What was the other one?
Four.
Meter boxes and roads.
LB3 and LB4.
All right.
Is it 2 and 4?
2 and 4.
Okay, I am
Motion
50.
is 1, 3, and 5, so that's what we.
2 and
2
So it does,
and 4.
it accomplishes.
Okay, 2
2
and 4.
weeks.
I move that 2 and 4 be deferred for 2 weeks.
Second.
all right, moving properly second. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Motion's carried to defer for 2 weeks. Now we'll go over to extensions.
Extension 1 is gasoline. We purchased this gasoline under cooperative agreement with Gwinnett, Fulton, DeKalb, the school board system for Forsyth County, and we're asking the board to extend the contract and to add $20 million to the gas contract.
What's the price per gallon?
For unleaded, we will pay $2.80. For diesel, we will pay $3.16, and for propane fuel, we pay $1.33.
That's a good deal.
It is.
Okay. Any more questions, commissioners? All right, EXT2.
EXT2 is tire recapping and repair services. This is an annual contract. We're asking the board to add additional $500,000, $250,000 per company, and this contract is utilized by Public Works Fleet Management Division.
Okay, commissioners, any questions on this? Seeing none, entertain a motion. EXT 1 and 2.
Move approval.
I second the motion.
Moving properly second. Any comments or questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Now we go to sole source, SS1.
That is our Oracle Technical Support and Software Licensing. This is for $131,000 to Oracle America.
Okay, any questions, commissioners? This is a standard we do every year, or is it every 3 or 4 years?
This is every year.
License fees must be
Yes,
paid.
license fees.
Every year?
Yes.
Okay. And they provide good report, they provide good technical support? Y'all got any feedback from the people, staff people and all of that? Evaluations? Y'all do
Why is
evaluations?
everybody snickering in the audience?
Because I know sometimes my email blank out. So is it, you all provide that?
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Do you all have, well, I guess it's the only thing we can use, but do you all get feedback from the employees on this is really providing us good technical support and all of that?
Yes, we do.
You have a survey that you hand out to the end users?
No, we don't do a survey, but, I mean, all the calls pretty much go to our help desk and we handle those.
Can you start doing something like that so we can hand it in and the commissioners can look at it?
Yeah, we talked about doing a survey from our help desk for all the IT services that we provide.
And that will help us to find out who's working, and when these software contracts come up, we'll have some more feedback on what we need to be using and what we can possibly find, other companies that can do this work. Because I know the industry is expanding. I know Oracle can't be just the only one right now.
But Oracle is the only company that we can, get support from for the Oracle application. So we are locked in with that.
Forever.
Got a lot of money.
Okay.
The system's obsolete.
All right. Commissioners, entertain the motion.
Move approval.
Second the motion.
All right, any questions? Yes.
How long have we been using this system, and when is it supposed to be obsolete?
It's not
talking
using.
about Oracle?
Yes.
Oracle, yes.
We've been using Oracle since 2004, but it's not obsolete. We have to keep up with the upgrades to continue to get support, but it's not obsolete.
And have we continued with all of the upgrades?
Yes, we're in the process of doing the latest upgrade.
Okay. All right, need a, all in favor? Motion carries. We'll go to amendments.
Amendment number 1 is the maintenance for our wide area network. This is with the company called Layer 3. This contract is worth $631,000. It's utilized by Information Technology.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioners? All right, A2.
A2 is for information only. No dollar amount is attached to this. We are requesting amendment number 1 to delete all references to the Blackburn Tennis Center from the contract and to modify the rent payment for requirements. This is up in the city of Brookhaven now. So we want to let you know that we're going to change our contract to say that we are away from that.
How much money we saving?
Is Roy here? I didn't see him.
Roy's not here.
Someone here from Park?
No. Yeah, there's no one here from Parks.
So
We'll
can you
the-
get that answer?
We'll get you the response.
Yeah, and this is for information.
It's how much,
We just email it to us, it'll be fine.
Okay, we get that from the department.
So that's asking how much, what's the amount? How much is
How much we saving since we changed it, amending the contract? We don't know where it's gonna go, but that's another question. Okay. A3.
A3 is to amend the professional services contracts for engineering services for the Department of Watershed Management. We're asking you for $2.4 million and to increase the contract until, extend the contract until February 2014 in the process of rebidding this contract. So we're estimating $300,000 per contractor. This is for watershed management because we still have things that we need to do under EPA and EPD.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioners?
I have a question. So this is extended through February. What percent of each one of these guys' businesses will get something, do you think?
Yeah, we have allocated.
Because they'll ask us.
Right, yeah, estimated $300,000, and the user department should be rotating these contractors when they're issuing out work.
So that's 6 months. Will each of them, you think, get something?
This is an estimated amount. Yeah, they should get something, but they may not
Each
get out
company should?
$300,000.
Yeah, they will.
We expect to get most of them.
Okay. Because they'll all ask us.
So do you have records on what we used before? Can you provide that to the Commissioners the last couple of years so they can see how the rotation has been going?
Yeah, we can send them.
Commissioner Barnett?
Do you have a new process in place? I know most of the people working with you it's a different group of people. So I'm pretty sure you've looked at this. Do you have a different process in place to ensure that everybody gets to participate?
Yes, yes, we do. We really have a lot of work to do, and 300,000 should get us about where we need to be. We may even be more than we need, but we hope to have the other, an RFP out soon for the, which will be most of the professional services for the CIP. That should be very low, and procurement probably somewhere in $50–60 million for several months.
Are any of these folks working over at Snapfinger?
Are any of these?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Are these the ones that need to get their stuff together, or are these different ones?
There's still some work that they're doing, including related to what they need to finish at Snapfinger.
But you're writing everything up to make sure that everybody is working along and doing what they need to do, outcomes-wise?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Commissioners? That's A1, A2, A3, these are amendments. I entertain a motion.
I'll move approval, A1, 2, and 3, and just as a side though, that we'll figure out, was it A1?
A2.
A2.
Yes,
Yeah, that we'll get some information about the savings.
right.
Okay.
Policy rates, yes.
I second the motion.
All right, so moving properly second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries. We go to request for proposals, RFP 1.
Yes, Commissioner, this is Uniform Security Guard Services. This contract is utilized by Police Services, Department of Watershed Management, Public Works, Tax Commissioner's Office. The Evaluation Committee, we received 7 proposals, and the Evaluation Committee recommended G4S Security Solutions out of Atlanta, Georgia, for an amount not to exceed $3.9 million. This contract is over a 5-year period.
Okay, commissioners, any questions?
I have a question. How long has All-in-One had the contract?
Commissioner, we had 2 contractors on board for security services. One was ABM Security, they did propose, and All-in-One. So All-in-One have been here at least about 3 years, I believe. Maybe off a year or 2.
But didn't they just come back recently?
Yes, for an extension.
Okay.
Yeah, the board approved an extension for them until I could get this RFP done.
I mean, personally, I'm okay with who we have, but it's up to y'all. I don't think there's a huge savings. I prefer security people know me. So I'll make a motion to do All-in-One.
It's All-in-One. And All-in-One.
If I can get a second, but.
And they've been doing this security for a
They're
while.
the incumbent.
That's the
Yes.
incumbent.
And Especially doing what's happening now in
And they're
DC, you
cheaper.
need to have folks who
They're cheaper.
experience on board, who understand.
I just like to know they know my name.
Right. Okay,
We second the motion.
all right, all in favor?
Well, excuse me, I really wasn't paying attention. Did we just go with A1? That's what I thought we were doing.
All-in-One.
Okay, let me look at it. I'm sorry. I got handed a piece of paper and I was trying to read.
I apologize.
Bad time.
There's no good time.
He threw me off the whole meeting, I can't even
The
concentrate.
difference is 46,000, so.
Okay.
You know.
Turn to the page.
When's here?
I know, right?
Request for proposal.
You wanna come
It's
back,
A1.
we can.
It's a-
Okay, so we're looking at,
My suggestion was
A1.
keep the current vendor.
oh, which is All-in-One Security.
Mhm.
Okay. And those are the people, okay.
The people that know me, and if
Yeah.
someone's,
If I walk in,
yeah.
hey, Sharon. All right. I second that motion.
All right, moving properly second, all in favor, show of hands. Motion carries for All-in-One. RFP 2. Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
That's it for
All right.
RFP.
Emergency request. EM1.
EM1 Commissioners, we're trying to purchase 39 residential rear loaders we're trying to purchase the tippers. Those are the things that go around the trash cans and we dip it in the truck. From McNilla's Financial Incorporated. You recently approved the contract to the same company for the trucks.
That ties
Let's speak to
into,
this.
that ties into our pilot programs that we're going to be undertaking in sanitation.
It should be helpful for workman's comp,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, also,
Back injury.
yeah,
All right.
which are huge.
Any more
I mean,
questions?
I'll make approval, motion to approve.
Let's do EM2. and
Oh, I'm
then
sorry,
we'll come
yes,
back.
sir, forgot, still distracted.
Why you come in here doing that this morning? Okay, next one, EM2.
Yes, those laptops for our police services department. We recently purchased several vehicles, and now we have to get the vehicles equipped with the laptops to utilize in the cars. So we're asking you to purchase these laptops for us. 80 of them.
All right, commissioners, I think we're ready to entertain a motion.
Move approval for EM1 and EM2.
All right.
I second the motion.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Show of hands. Motion carries from EM1. EM2. Now we'll go to SWC.
SWC, this is for juvenile court, for functional family therapy service. We're requesting approval off of the statewide contract for $296,000 to a company called Community Solutions Incorporated out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Do you have any information in terms of how they've done therapy-wise? Have they worked in the CAD or worked with juveniles before?
I can receive that from Judge Piegler. We were talking just today, Commissioner, about that. I can reach out to her.
And just their success rate in terms of helping young people involved in negative socialization and minimizing criminogenic traits.
Success rate. Okay.
All right.
We can reach out to them.
Okay. Commissioners, I entertain a motion.
Move approval for SWC.
I second the motion.
All right, any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Now,
And I do have one more, sir.
okay.
That is
Wait.
the student. Okay. Two more, rather.
Seems like I'm missing something. Okay, Mr. Walton.
We deferred this item for 30 days. It is the Economic Development Strategic Plan, RFP, that you do have before you, is the two sheets.
Okay, that's one.
And you've also got another handout in there from...
Yeah, that's what I was.
PowerPoint presentation.
Color one.
Okay, commissioners, have you had a chance to look at the presentation and review it? And we'll open it up for questions.
Wait, I haven't seen this.
I haven't been in it.
You presented this.
I made it available to everyone ahead of time, and Jay had also copies of it.
We've all got multiple copies of it.
Excellent. And the presentation addressed the questions you had asked on regarding the scope of work.
All right.
The statement.
Any questions?
I read it and discussed it and read it and discussed it.
Uh-oh, you moving your neck. You're not happy? You want it?
That's so wrong.
Like she said, I read it, and hey, I still need some, I want it or I don't want it.
Right, and
I need some guidance.
Well, I think this is where we are right now. We have to move forward.
Okay.
So,
But you still need, you want some?
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Okay.
Okay.
You had a question before we?
No, I just
Okay.
heard good enough, which is that we'll take it.
A motion.
I move that we approve this item.
Okay, I'll second. Make sure I got all my questions answered. Keep loose down there sweat. Okay, I think we should be fine. All in favor?
I haven't read it yet.
Motion carries. Okay, Mr. Walton, you had one more
I do,
item that that we talked about.
I do, and you don't have that in your package, and I will not pass it out. It was a construction management for, I believe, Stonecrest Sanitary Sewer improvement. Just to let you know, I've met with the law department, have to get back with them with some additional information, and I should be ready by Tuesday, the day of the board meeting, 9/24.
So you met with the law department, and you should be ready?
Yes, to make a decision.
Make a decision.
If I'm going to move forward.
And that's the sanitary, name it so everybody.
Yes, construction management, excuse me, services for the construction of Stonecrest Sanitary Sewer improvement projects.
Okay, so you'll be ready.
Yes, this is the one that benchmark was being recommended by the evaluation committee.
Okay.
Yes.
that concludes our meeting. Anything else? Oh, man. I forgot to ask Commissioner Boyer, or ask you, can we move our FAB meeting to October 2nd? Instead of the 1st? That's okay? I think it's 10 is fine, 10 o'clock? Would that work for you? Can you see if Commissioner Boyer can use it for us? If not, we'll... October 2nd. Yes, sir.
That's the big one.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of that.
Yeah, that's everything.
And don't,
And the reason why I want to do that is because we have the refund,
October 10th at what time?
October 2nd,
2nd at 10 o'clock.
And you have CIP.
and CIP.
Are your questions answered?
What's that?
Capital
A lot
improvement
of big
program.
stuff coming up?
That's the one we rebid?
Oh, okay. And then you want to do the underwriter presentation at that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's a biggie.
Yeah.
And that's going to be on the agenda then?
Yes, ma'am.
And the consent decree will be on that one, class and case study. So we're gonna have
so
a lot of.
we'll start at 10 and end at 6:30.
Yeah.
No, we're going to 12.
We got a lunch?
That's why we're going to end at 12.
Oh, I come to put on the-
Okay, well, we have lunch. Or brunch, whatever y'all call it. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Let's see, wait to hear from one more person. While we're waiting, Jay, you want to talk about the budget retreat on the 26th?
You have a budget retreat scheduled for Thursday, the 26th at 9 a.m. at the Porter Sanford Arts Center. It will be entertaining and fun. Prizes.
We won't reveal the prizes yet, today.
There will be pony rides in the middle of it.
There better not be no tax increase.
Basically, you will split it into 3 parts. The first part will be current status, essentially what you see from Stefan, like on the regular updates, just maybe a little bit more detailed. That'll be the first part to kind of show where we are. And the second part will be showing what we've gotten in as far as request, kind of the approach to the budget this year. And then the third part's going to be the commission itself debating priorities for next year. We've have put out an all call to commissioners and have received some, not a lot of priorities, but we need to flesh them out in an active conversation.
My priority is going to be to really fix these roads. Roads, get them back to being smooth. So, and that's something that everybody can see and everybody can stop calling my office about their cars and mufflers and alignments are not right.
Absolutely.
So I don't know, whatever.
I'm putting 9 to 2 for now.
And also keeping the grass cut.
We got it.
Charles Mason, he's out of here.
Doug's here.
She got it. But she's okay with us going forward on our trip? Okay. All right, so our finance audit and budget meeting will be at 10 o'clock on October.
9. Is it 9 or 10?
10.
Oh.
You want to do 9?
Retreats at 9.
The retreat's at 9 and meetings at 10. Okay.
10 would be better. You want to do 10, all right, or you want to go 9?
Oh, 10 is good.
10 is good, okay. All right, that will be our FAB meeting on October 2nd. Anything else for the good of the order?
We're done.
You finished? All right, thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, staff, for your reports and due diligence.
Commissioner Johnson, did you say the first or the second? Second. So on Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday.
Hump day.
Right.